Hello beautiful people, Miss Beeching here. In this video we're going to go over sample spaces and we're also going to talk about frequency within those sample spaces. In the last skill we looked at listing outcomes for experiments. If you don't know what an experiment, an outcome or an event are, maybe quickly check back to that skill and then come over to this one. We're going to start on sample spaces. So what is a sample space? If I can copy paste quick enough. Okay, so a sample space is basically just a list of all the possible outcomes of an experiment or event. So all we're doing is listing every single thing that could happen. And we're going to do it in a special way. We're going to write it in what we call set notation. Okay, so we're going to write it just like this. So over here we've got different outcomes. We've got you could win a game, you could lose a game, or you could draw in a game. 3 outcomes. So that is a sample space. We've listed every single outcome. Maybe this is like a game of chess or something. We've listed every single outcome. We've put commas between the different outcomes because we want to separate out each one. And then for a sample space to be written properly, this is where the set notation comes in. So we've put these curly brackets, and those curly brackets mean that that whole group of things is a set. There's a whole group of different outcomes. So that's how we write a sample space. It's just a list of every possible outcome, and we write it in set notation with the commas in the middle and then the curly brackets on the outside. Pretty straightforward so far. Now let's have a look at the frequency of each outcome. And I know a lot of people got really confused when they saw this word on the pretest. So whenever we say frequency of something, it just means how many times something occurs. Okay, so if we do a sample space, let's say for rolling a D10, a 10-sided die. We've got 10 different outcomes, and let's write out the sample space and make sure our pen's the right size. So we're going to do those curly brackets. If you have trouble drawing these curly brackets, by the way, the trick is that you go in and up and then like a mirror image. Sometimes it takes a bit of practice to draw them neatly, and that you end up going like, oh, what is this? Oh my God, just keep practicing, you'll get better. So we're going to list the outcomes. So we could roll a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, and for this experiment, the frequency of each outcome is just 1. Okay, so the frequency of rolling a 1 is a 1. Every single 10-sided die has 1, 1. It has 1, 2. It has 1, 3. Every single outcome, we could keep going along, yeah. Every single outcome has a frequency of 1 because there's only one of that number on the die, unless it was like a freaky cheat die or something. But of course, that's not always the case. Quite often, you're going to have different outcomes that come up different numbers of times. So let's look at an example where that happens. So let's say we're going to pick a marble from this bag, and I'm going to draw a little bag here. So let's say we've got a bag. We've got, I don't know, some red. No, that's not red. We've got some red marbles. We've got some green marbles. We've got some blue marbles. And let's say we've got one lonely, ginormous purple marble. Jesus Christ. All right. So let's list the outcomes first. So if we are thinking about the colors we could draw, we've got red, we've got green, we've got blue, we've got purple. So this is the sample space. If you're ever asked to write a sample space, that's all you need to write. Curly brackets with commas and list every outcome that's possible. And then quite often in this skill, the question's going to ask you to write the frequency of each outcome. So I like to just draw a little arrow to each one. You can do it however you like. There's not really a specific way you have to do it, but I'm going to write just a little arrow and then just write a number to say what the frequency of each outcome is. So if we look at this bag of marbles here, the frequency of red is 3 because there's 3 different red marbles in the bag, okay? And the frequency of green is only 2 because there's 2 green marbles in the bag. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 blue marbles. So the frequency of blue is 6. And the frequency of purple, assuming there's an equal chance of picking this ginormous marble, would be 1 because there's 1 purple marble. And you can probably already see how that's going to help us later on when we get to the skill with calculating probabilities. Once we know how often something pops up, we can work out the chance of it happening. But that's another skill. And that's basically it. Writing a sample space, put your brackets, commas, list all your outcomes. And then the frequency, you're most welcome to just draw a little arrow and write how often that outcome occurs in that sample space. All right, good luck with the rest of the skill. If you have any trouble, check in with your teacher. Bye.